In a city that hummed with the future, where 3D holograms danced in the streets and flying machines zipped through the sky like metallic birds, lived a young man named Aalizil. He was brilliant, curious, and had a natural gift for technology. He could spend hours lost in the intricate dance of circuits and code, his fingers flying across holographic interfaces. But for all his love of innovation, Aalizil had a deep-seated aversion to one thing: responsibility. Whenever a complex project or a difficult decision arose, he would find a way to step back, to let someone else take the lead. It wasn't laziness, it was a quiet, nagging fear of failure that held him captive. He preferred the safety of the sidelines, where he could observe and advise without ever having to bear the weight of the final outcome. Life in this dazzling metropolis depended on a single, powerful energy core. It was the city's heart, pumping life into every home, every vehicle, and most critically, every hospital. The core was a marvel of engineering, a sphere of pure, stable energy that had powered their world for generations. But one day, the unthinkable happened. The steady hum of the core faltered. Lights across the city flickered, and a wave of unease rippled through the populace. The core was failing. Without its power, the city would be plunged into darkness. Homes would go cold, transportation would grind to a halt, and life-saving medical equipment would fall silent. The city's elders, their faces etched with worry, gathered the community in the central plaza. Their holographic announcement echoed through the anxious crowd. The energy core is unstable. We need volunteers, our brightest minds, to venture into the energy tower and attempt a restoration. The risks are great, but the cost of inaction is far greater. Eyes turned toward Aalizil. His knowledge was legendary. He understood the core's systems better than almost anyone, but as the gazes of his friends and neighbors fell upon him, he felt that familiar knot of fear tighten in his stomach. The thought of holding the city's fate in his hands was What if he made a mistake? What if he made things worse? I looked down, avoiding their hopeful stares, and remained silent. The weight of expectation was too heavy to bear. That night, sleep offered Aalizil no escape. He was tossed into a vivid, terrifying dream. He saw his beautiful city, not vibrant and alive, but submerged in an oppressive, suffocating darkness. The once bright holograms were gone. The flying machines were just silent silhouettes against the starless sky. A profound silence filled the air, broken only by the distant, sorrowful cries of people lost in the blackness. He felt a chilling sense of despair, a deep regret for his inaction. As he drifted through this nightmare landscape, a tiny point of light appeared before him. It pulsed, gently, growing brighter until it took the form of a small, shimmering entity. It spoke, its voice not a sound, but a feeling that resonated deep within his soul. Aalizil, it whispered, courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to act in spite of it. True strength is found not in avoiding failure, but in facing it. The words echoed in his mind as he woke with a start, his heart pounding. The dream felt more real than reality. The glowing light's message lingered, not as a command, but as a profound truth he had always known but never accepted. A shift occurred within him, a quiet, but powerful, transformation. The fear was still there, a cold flutter in his chest, but it was no longer in control. He got dressed, his movements filled with a new, unfamiliar purpose. He walked out of his home and headed directly for the colossal energy tower that pierced the sky, its peak now shrouded in an ominous, flickering aura. Inside the tower, the scene was one of controlled chaos. The air crackled with raw energy. Complex machinery, control panels, and diagnostic tools floated in midair, connected by shimmering conduits of light. The core itself, a massive, unstable sphere of plasma, throbbed violently in the center of the chamber, sending out dangerous energy arcs. The other volunteers, skilled technicians themselves, were struggling, their efforts only seeming to agitate the core further. Seeing the raw power and the complexity of the problem up close, Aalizil's fear flared up once more. But this time, he didn't let it stop him. He took a deep breath, recalling the dream, and stepped forward. He began to work, his mind focusing with an intensity he had never experienced before. He navigated the holographic interfaces, his hands moving with a fluid grace that surprised even himself. He was no longer just an observer. He was a participant, fully engaged. He analyzed the cascading data streams, identifying the root of the instability of feedback loop in the primary regulators. The task was incredibly delicate. One wrong command could cause a catastrophic overload. He made mistakes. At one point, he miscalculated a power reroute, causing a section of the control grid to short out with a terrifying blast of light. The old Aalizil would have recoiled, convinced of his failure. But the new Aalizil simply paused, analyzed the error, and corrected his approach. He didn't give up. Hour after hour, he worked with unwavering patience and focus. He ignored the sweat on his brow and the tremor in his hands. He was completely immersed, his fear transformed into a powerful, motivating force. It was a fuel, pushing him to be more careful, more precise. He methodically bypassed the damaged regulators, reconfigured the energy matrix, and began to painstakingly recalibrate the core's harmonic frequency. Slowly, painstakingly, the violent throbbing of the core began to subside. The dangerous energy arcs receded, and the chaotic hum was replaced by a steady, powerful drone. With a final, decisive command, Aalizil restored the system. A wave of brilliant light erupted from the tower, washing over the city. Below, the darkened streets and buildings blazed back to life in a symphony of vibrant colors. The holograms reappeared, more dazzling than ever, and the flying machines gracefully lifted back into the sky. A cheer erupted from the city below, a sound so loud and full of joy that it reached him even in the heart of the tower. His fellow technicians clapped him on the back, their faces filled with relief and admiration. People hailed him as a hero. But as he looked out at the city he had saved, Aalizil knew the greatest reward wasn't the praise or the title. It was the feeling inside him. He had faced his deepest fear and discovered a strength he never knew he possessed. He finally understood that responsibility wasn't a burden to be avoided, but a powerful force that turns fear into courage and doubt into strength. From that day forward, Aalizil was a changed man. He became a leader in his community, not because he was fearless, but because he was willing to step up, to act, and to take responsibility, even when he was afraid. He taught others that the true measure of a person isn't in their ability to avoid challenges, but in their willingness to face them head-on. His story became a legend, a reminder to all that real leadership isn't about having all the answers, but about having the courage to search for them, especially when the path is dark. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that inspires. We'll see you in the next one.